Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer. I'm Gabriel Antoniazzi. Joining me today, Tam McManus, Alan Ruff and Charlie Adam. We've got so much to go through this afternoon. Rangers making it through to the Europa League last 32 for the third year in a row, beating Sparta Prague 2-0 last night in Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's first game in charge. No such luck for Celtic though. They'll be playing in the Conference League after a late Leverkusen double meant they lost 3-2 in Germany. We'll be looking at all of the weekend's action as well, but perhaps most importantly, we'll be previewing Scotland's World Cup playoff. Now, the draw has just started at FIFA HQ in Switzerland. We're expecting teams to come out in the next 10 to 15 minutes, so stay tuned for all of that reaction from all of the boys here as it comes. But first of all, we've got to start with perhaps an equally as important draw. It's the Macron Scottish Junior Cup quarter-final draw.
Hi, I'm Peter Martin and welcome to the Macron Scottish Junior Cup quarter-final draw. I'm delighted to say helping me with the draw is none other than Tam Cowan. The last 16 ties are going to be played on Saturday, so tomorrow all the clubs will be battling it out, but they will know who they are going to face in the quarter-final if they can get through. So fingers crossed. So there are 8 numbers to pay particular attention to. In number 1 will be Craigmark Burntonians or Auchinleck Talbot Irvine Meadow. Number 2 will be Gartcairn or Arthurlie. Number 3 will be Johnston Borough or Kirkintilloch Rob Roy. Number 4 is Largs Thistle or Dundee North End. Number 5 is Muirkirk or Dice. Number 6 is Petershill Lochie United. Number 7 Shotts Bonaccord or Rossvale. And number 8 is Yoker Athletic against Ashfield on the Saturday, and then they will know who they're going to face in the quarter-final draw. So, Tam, the excitement's there. You know what to do. It's the Macron Scottish Junior Cup quarter-final draw. Good luck.
It is, and I'm looking forward in another 4 or 5 years to Hibs being in it. The way they're going now. Here we go. Right. First out is number 5.
So Tam is drawing the home draw here, and that's Muirkirk or Dice is number 5, and I'm taking the away team. So with just a quick shuffle, it's number 8, and number 8 is Yoker or Ashfield. So that's the first of the draws, 5 against 8. Tam, you're next for the home one.
Is number 7.
Number 7 is Shotts Bonaccord Rossvale.
Yep.
And they will face number 1, Craigmark Burntonians, Auchinleck Talbot, Irvine Meadow. So, next one, just 2 to go before the draw's complete.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Largs Thistle or Dundee North End against, and this is number 6, and number 6, Petershill Lochie United.
And last one, number 3.
So number 3 is Johnston Borough or Kirkintilloch Rob Roy, and there should be 1 number left in the bag, and there is, and that is number 2. So number 2 is Gartcairn Arthurlie. So there you have it. That is the Macron Scottish Junior Cup quarter-final draw, and all these ties will be played on the 12th of March at 2:30. Good luck in the quarter-final, but especially good luck to all the teams taking part in the last 16 on Saturday afternoon. You now know who you will face in the quarterfinals if you can get through. Best of luck. Thanks to Tam for helping us with the Macron Scottish Junior Cup draw. We'll be back yet again to do that draw sometime in the future. Keep it locked to plzsoccer.com, and don't forget to download PLZ Soccer's app as well.
So there you have it. That is the quarter-final draw for the Macron Scottish Junior Cup. There are some still last 16 ties to be played. They'll be played tomorrow in the wind and the rain across the country. Chaz, looking at that draw, would you fancy a Dundee derby perhaps in the quarter-final, eh?
Hopefully, yeah. North End against Lochie United. I know the manager at Lochie United and the staff there, so no, it'll be good for them. Tough game tomorrow away at Petershill. You know, I know that they're looking forward to it, hoping they can get a result, but listen, you'd expect Auchinleck probably to be the favourites in the whole tournament.
They're your tip as well, Rafa?
Dundee, one of the Dundee teams, yeah, but the Auchinleck's a team they've all got to beat. They've got the history, they've won it the most times. and also taking on the senior teams as well will have improved them, you know, for getting away from some of the juniors. But no, this stage of the competition is good for everybody, and everybody's excited, and you want to win it. You want to get into a semi-final at least.
Well, all of the best to all the players and teams playing tomorrow, and then in the quarterfinals, which will just be in a few weeks' time. Right, as I said, the draw has started. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, is talking a lot at the moment. We've not got any teams out yet. We'll bring it as it comes. We're going to start last night at Ibrox. Charlie was there at Rangers 2-0 victors over Sparta Prague. Alfredo Morelos with a double, meaning he scored 27 European goals. And Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's first win in his first game as Rangers boss. They're through, Charlie. How was the game? What do you make of it?
I thought Rangers started the game really well. You know, probably should have been 1 up after 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
But, you know, the intensity they played at, you know, I don't think really, apart from, you know, near the end and a little bit of a spell in the first half, I thought Rangers were in control of the whole match. I don't think the Sparta showed too much. And it was a big result because there was a lot of nerves because of the back of the end of Steven Gerrard leaving and everybody wondering what was going to happen. And you know, it's the perfect way to go and, you know, stamp your authority into new football clubs, winning your first game in charge, and he managed to do that. And, you know, listen, they've got the chance of, you know, of the qualification now and for after Christmas, and they'll be looking to try and get as far as they can. Speaking to people last night, they want, you know, the best ties possible they can to get through, and they want to go as far as they can.
Yeah, we'll have a look at those potential ties in a second, but how was the atmosphere? How was he welcomed back? Obviously a player 20 years ago.
It was unbelievable. The atmosphere was great, electric, and he always is. You know, listen, they always back the managers, new manager coming in, and you know, the result is all that matters. But now they have a tricky tie going away to Livingston on Sunday.
Yeah, that's up next. We can see what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst had to say at the full-time whistle. He said he's very proud of the team and how they reacted after Sunday. We only had 2 training sessions, and I think they stuck to the game plan really well. I'm very proud of my team. The goals Morelos scored, the performance of our midfield players, they were all excellent. And then at the right time, McGregor makes a really good save. For us as a club, we're involved in Europa League after the winter break. It was very important. Tam, Morelos back to his best, scoring to 6th highest scorer in UEFA Cup or Europa League history. That's what they want, isn't it? That's what they want to see. Can he fire them up, Van Bronckhorst, fire Morelos back to his best permanently?
Well, it's a good start last night. As I said, I thought he was very poor against Hibs at the weekend, but last night, you know, maybe it's just the European football, you know, it suits him better. He was back to his best, he was getting tight to defenders, he was bullying them, he was turning people, he was running the channels. You know, he looked a bit fitter as well, so, you know, he had the bit between his teeth last night. Great finish for the first goal, you know, takes it first time, lovely ball from Hadji and a tremendous finish. Second goal was comical, to be honest, from Sparta Prague's point of view. And that gave Rangers a wee cushion. I know McGregor had a couple of great saves towards the end, but Rangers I don't think were troubled really in the game. They cruised the second half. Didn't think Sparta Prague were great, but, you know, Rangers go through. Luckily for them, Leon have beat everybody. So it's became a bit of a dogfight for that second place, and they've got a game obviously away to Leon, but that doesn't really matter. They're already through and they might rest a few players. So no, great night for Van Bronckhorst coming in, and a great night for Rangers.
Rangers fans, want to hear from you. Make sure you get commenting on our YouTube channel. You said that Rangers weren't threatened too much, but there was that double save from McGregor, Ruffy. What about that, the second one especially?
Yeah, we've said it on numerous occasions, particularly in European football. Big goalkeepers make big saves, and he certainly did it. But I agree with Charlie. Rangers should have been done and dusted before that. They had enough chances to win the game. You have to give the players all the credit after the abuse they got at the weekend. They all stepped up per man. They made a couple of changes. But no, in Europe, I think Rangers, it suits Europe, you know, with the players that they've got, the style of play they play in Europe, the Hadjis and all that, the Kamaras, you know, that suits that kind of style of football. Maybe Charlie will say differently that our Premiership is more hustle bustle and, you know, people in about you, but in Europe you seem to get a wee bit more time in certain areas of the park. You know, they let you play, and if you've got good players in that area, it's up to the guys up front to tuck them away, and that's what he did. And I think he responded for Charlie's valuation on Monday. You know, I think he just stepped up to the plate and said, hey, what are you worth?
Must have hurt him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't get like people say that, you know, Morelos, he looked sharp, he looked a little bit fitter. It's because he run around. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with, oh, he wasn't sulking, he wasn't moaning. He actually became a proper number 9 last night again, where he wanted to bully his centre backs. He's putting his backside into people, turning them, running the channels, and maybe maybe he got a bit comfortable under the previous manager, and you know, he just thought, well, you know, that's the way it is. But maybe he needed that little rocket, and that hopefully for them, you know, somebody like that can start scoring goals, because there's only three players in the UEFA Cup that have scored more goals since 2018 than him, and you know, that just shows the record and the goal scoring record that he's got in Europe. So he'll want to keep continuing doing that, and let's say, but that's part now. You need to forget about that. You can't rest on that, and you know, welcome to Scottish football for Giovanni, because they're going to Livingston, AstroTurf, difficult place to go.
We'll get onto that in a minute. But what impressed you most in terms of changes from the weekend, from the Gerrard reign? The Van Bronckhorst, did he fire the players up? Did he change the formation a little bit?
Yeah, he played more of a 2 and a 1. You know, Davis and Kamara played beside together, but Rangers have played that in Europe. I just felt that the intensity they played, the speed of the pass, you know, at times Kent was playing a lot wider than normally would in Europe. Normally under Stephen, they would have played probably a flat 3 screen in front of the defence. Instead, they had the 2 and the 1 where it allowed them to get up the pitch. Aribo, I thought, was more effective in the 10 position, because he's very good at driving with the ball and getting on the half turn. And Kent, for me, I think was looking sharp, and he was good. Probably getting good 70 minutes in him will send him, you know, for December, because he's got a busy period, will help him. You know, Bassey obviously going into centre back was obviously a worry for people, you know, for some fans, because he struggled a couple of games at centre back, but he was dominant, aggressive, and it was more like Rangers that we'd expect last night, but they need to build on that. Yeah,
just finally on Aribo, he did play well, but he could have scored 2 or 3. Do you not think there was a few big chances?
Yeah, there's one come across the goal he should have scored.
Should he have gone with his head?
Probably. You know, he's tried to flick it in, but he did have a couple of chances. But I thought Rangers, you know, were well on top. They started the game well, and it was a great bounce back after getting pumped from the mighty Hibs on Sunday.
Pumped from the mighty Hibs. All right, okay. We'll get on to Hibs in a minute, so don't pipe up too much. We can have a look at the table right now as it stands. Lyon qualified as group winners. Rangers confirmed in second place. They're only 3 points ahead of Sparta Prague, but they have a better head-to-head courtesy of that 2-goal margin last night. So what it means, Ruffy was getting a bit confused with this before we started, is they are through to the last 32 of the Europa League. They will play one of the third place teams in the Champions League that dropped down. So Lyon, as group winners, will go straight through to the last 16, but Rangers in the last 32. Now, as things stand, these are some of the teams they could face. Red Bull Leipzig, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Benfica, Atalanta, Sevilla, Zenit St. Petersburg or Sheriff Tiraspol. Not easy, Ruffy, if that's in the last 32, eh?
Well, I was thinking a Sheriff joke there, but I wasn't quick enough. No, there's big teams in there. Yeah. I think I don't know about a player, but as a supporter, you want to see a big name. You know, I think if you ask Rangers or Celtic, the supporters, the players might not want them, but the supporters want an AC Milan, they want a Barcelona, they want a right big name, somebody they can go and say, I was at that game. But certainly at home, you know, I think Rangers are as good as anybody, and I think they could take any of them.
Okay, we'll have plenty of time to look into potential opponents. We'll know exactly what happens in 2 weeks' time when the group stages of all European competitions are finished. The draw is still happening, but no teams are out yet, so we're going to move on to Celtic. We may be interrupted if we start to find out who Scotland could be facing in that playoff come March. But let's start with Celtic. Not the same as Rangers, a really impressive attacking performance going forwards, wasn't it? But yet again, that Achilles heel of defending away from home in Europe. What did you make of the whole 90 minutes?
First and foremost, I thought Celtic played really well. I thought it was positive from there. Going forward, again, they scored another 2 goals against a quality side. For me, Leverkusen are a Champions League team. I think they'll finish in the top 4 in Germany. So they went there, they acquitted themselves well. Listen, you're going to come under pressure against quality teams, particularly away from home. You know, so Celtic lost the goals. They'll be disappointed the goals they lost, particularly the first one. I think Ralston loses a boy and he comes through and gets a little bit of block on him. But particularly when Celtic go 2-1, that was a great goal. You know, Jota. Yeah. You know, great double save from Joe Hart, picks it up. Great distribution out wide, and then it's a wonderful goal from Celtic. And then you never really feel comfortable that Celtic were going to go and hang on, did you? I didn't think anyway. But you know, for the Celtic supporters, for me, if you're paying money and you're going away from home, and there was a few thousand there last night, a few thousand in Betis, you want to go and see your team having a go. You know, you don't want to go and pay thousands of pounds to go and watch a team parting the bus and getting beat 2-0, 3-0. So I think the Celtic supporters are enjoying what Celtic are serving up. I think last night, again, they go and attack, they have a go. Okay, they lose the 2 late goals, but every Celtic supporter would come away for that game positive, I thought. The performance and positive that the team's getting better. I just think the squad depth's nowhere near as it should be, but I think over the next couple of windows, I think Postecoglou will strengthen that, and I think Celtic will be a really strong team.
You think the subs hindered them when they came on?
Subs hindered them. I just think the guys coming on, no disrespect, I don't think they're good enough for Celtic, and the guys coming off, you know, you need your substitutes win your games, Charlie will tell you. You know, you can come on and get you a point, or come on and get you a winner, or show something up, but the guys coming on, you know, they're not the same quality as the guys coming off, so I think Celtic, that's a big issue. They've got to strengthen in January and strengthen the whole squad.
Yeah, they did lead in all 3 away games, Rafi. That's away in Seville, away in Leverkusen, away in Budapest. They only won 1 of the 3 there, but there are positives to take for Celtic, for Postecoglou.
There is positives. I obviously disagree with Charlie and Tam in the defensive area. I think you've got to show that you can defend, and they haven't showed that. You know, they haven't showed that, and fair enough. It's great attacking football. It's good to watch, but you can't keep saying that and getting beat. If they come to the cup final against Hibs, and everybody's saying, oh, they're playing attacking football, they're great, and they get beat, people are going to start saying, wait a minute.
But more or less, the amount of time, the way Celtic attack in Scottish football, the way they attack, more or less, they're going to win the game. They get away with it. But when you're coming up against that level of that quality level in the, like, you know, Leverkusen, you get punished, and they've conceded 7 goals in 2 games against them. You know, and like you say, that's not a good thing. Yeah, we've led 3 times, but we've lost games all the time. That's not good. You know, so it's. I just think that, like I say, they'll be disappointed, but like I say, the performance was good, and like you say, as a supporter of Celtic, you're happy that they've gone there and had a go, and not gone sat back and we've ended up with 3 or 4-0. So that's fair play, and that's good for Ange as well. Yep,
certainly. I will hear from Postecoglou very shortly, but we are hearing the news now. Scotland are the first team out, and they will face Wales in the playoff final if they get there. What do you think of that? Wales, straight away. We don't know who they'll be in the semi-final. We don't know if that game's going to be at home. But Charlie, you played Wales. They beat us twice home and away in World Cup qualification.
Probably ended my Scotland career, that game.
Was that the one that Bale scored?
Yeah, my fault that was, yeah.
All right. At least you've not let it linger over you. Come on.
No problem.
It's not Italy. It's not Portugal. It's not even Russia or Sweden. They're the second lowest ranked side in the pot one.
Yeah, but you've got to look at the squad of players that they've got. You know, they've got top quality players in Allen and Ramsey, Bale, you know, Dan James. It's going to be a tough tie, this. You know, it is a tough tie, and if we can get a home tie, we'd be much better. Going away, I think, would be very, very difficult. But listen, it's a one-off game, and we'll see what happens.
You happy with Wales?
I'm quite happy with Wales. I'm happy with Wales. You know, Italy, Portugal, teams like that.
You've avoided
you want to stay away from
European
them.
champions, previous European champions.
Wales will be a British style game. I think it'll be a, you know, I'd fancy it against Wales.
Ruffy?
Well, I've got past history with them. I've qualified for 2 World Cups against Wales.
Oh, confident.
Once in Cardiff and once in Anfield. So, and the Welsh people are still bitter about their 2 games, you know, and quite rightly so, because one of them was Joe Jordan, Hannah Gold, and the other one was the penalty against, was it Kevin Radcliffe that played with Everton? You know, he came out and sort of blocked the ball, and Davy Cooper stuck away the penalty for us to qualify. So Wales will be hurting by that big time, you know, and this is it coming in again for the 3rd time. So that'll be the motivation for them and their players, because they'll be obviously getting remembered. I know it's a long time ago, but they'll be getting remembered. Look, let's turn this around and change it. But I agree, they've got some quality players, Wales.
Yeah,
but we have to be on. We have to be as we were at that game the other week. There, we have to be.
The draw now is the first game for both teams.
Yeah, so we'll get the first game in a second, but we can't confirm
back to front.
The other semi-finals. The other finals will be Russia against Sweden if they win their semi-finals, which means Italy and Portugal are in the same path. If they both win their semi-final, it'll be Italy v Portugal for a place in the World Cup. That's massive. Bad for me, you know, as a full-time Italian lifelong supporter. Cristiano Ronaldo coming. Who are you fancying?
Glory Hunter.
Glory Hunter. Come
Maybe
on,
even Italy been rubbish.
Oh, you're at it. When were they rubbish, huh? Or the last World Cup.
So when do we find out now that we're going to be at home or away?
So what happens next? So all the pot 1 teams are out. Then they're going to draw the pot 2 teams. So we'll find out who we have in the semi-final initially. And then once all of that is done, they'll decide which of each semi-finalist is at home if they progress. So next up, we'll find out.
It's madness, isn't it?
That's a toss of a coin, isn't it? Is it
toss? But we know we're going to be at home for the semi-final, and it's Wales in the final, either in Cardiff, which, by the way, I think Scotland fans will be happy about that.
There's more Scotland fans than Cardiff and Wales fans.
Aye. How many fans do you think they would take down?
Oh,
I'm sure they'll know.
Scotland could take
20,000.
20,000.
Aye.
I'm sure Wales won't fall into the same trap they did the last time and moved it out of Wales and took it to Anfield.
Why did they take it to Anfield?
Because they thought they'd get a bigger crowd. And they
No.
did get a bigger crowd
No,
because
they'll-
they're Scottish supporters.
Millennium Stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, but they'll play at Cardiff, where that's where
Oh,
they play all their
aye.
games, and the atmosphere is electric.
Was that
They've got a
50,000?
really good record there as well.
30,000 maybe Cardiff Stadium.
Oh, the Cardiff City Stadium?
Aye, it'll not
Oh,
be the
I
big,
thought
it'll
it
not be
was
the
in
Millennium, no, it'll be just at Cardiff City Stadium. That's where they play the national games.
They've got a really, really impressive home record. I think they've only lost one in the last 4 European qualifying campaigns.
It's a big toss
There
of
you go, and
coin,
then
isn't
you're
it?
saying that's an easy draw.
Well, it could be at
Horrendous
home.
place
If
to
it's
go.
at home.
It's better than Portugal or Italy, I'll tell you that.
Fancy's at home, Charlie at Hampden.
Don't forget, Wales haven't been at a World Cup since 1958. It's the only World Cup they've been to. So they'll be desperate to get there.
But they've been to the European Championships in the last, 3 or 4?
Yeah, and they made the semi-finals in 2016.
So, yeah.
Squad for squad then. Obviously they have Bale and Ramsey, but squad-wise, 23, 25 players, 26, however many it will be. Who do you back as having more strength and depth?
I think they've got better, probably 2 or 3 individual players, but I think as in terms of overall squad and people that are playing at a high level, I think we're stronger. So just depends on. Listen, it's March. It's a long time away. It's March. There could be injuries. You know, it could be loss of form or whatever. But I'm quite happy to avoid Italy and Portugal. That was the 2 I wanted to avoid. I'm, taking anybody else.
Yeah, I think we're just finding out
I
now.
want to avoid Poland here.
It looks like it's Ukraine for Scotland at Hampden Park. We'll just have that confirmed in 2 seconds. But yep.
You into VAR? Are they
Yeah,
telling you?
I'm getting it in the air live. Pete, that's why Peter's not here today. He's in Switzerland reporting live from it.
Ukraine?
Ukraine.
Well, delighted with
Ukraine at home. So, right, Ukraine, what can we think about that? The 2 matches previous, that was, remember when we beat France and lost to Italy, it was Ukraine?
We beat them 3-1 at home.
We said
Yeah.
a few weeks ago we'd take North Macedonia or Ukraine at home. We've ended up with Ukraine. You've got to be happy with that.
Got to be happy with that. They did make the quarterfinals of the Euros in the summer, don't forget that. And the last 16 game they played was at Hampden against Sweden. Do you remember that game when everyone was getting knocked down injured and it was a last minute extra time winner? So, hey, they've got experience playing at Hampden. They won more games at Hampden this summer than we did.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously a force, but not one of the big forces like you're talking about Italy and Portugal, you know, and it's the home. I keep going with the home form. I think we're beginning to get a wee bit of momentum. I think our players are getting a lot more confident in playing
6 in a row,
at
aren't they?
home.
Like,
You know, you've got to go along there. They are a good side. They'll have quality players. They'll be technically very gifted as well, but they're not setting. I don't know what kind of results they've had in the last 2 or 3 games, round of results, but getting to the quarters of the Euros, they must have some decent.
I wouldn't have
players.
liked to have went to Ukraine. Put it that way.
No,
So I think we're going to watch. If
Wales-
we can get Wales at home here, we've had a great draw.
Wales play Austria.
Yeah, so Wales play Austria. So, you know, when I was saying we have Wales, that's the best thing we have.
Aye.
It's Wales or Austria. Now, we beat Austria. We beat Austria in Vienna. Drew
If
2-2
you
home.
look at that, and if miraculously, if Austria beat Wales and Scotland get past Ukraine, you'd be happy with Austria.
You'd be happy with Austria.
With the results that we've had against Austria in 2 games, it's it looks better than what it was, just playing Wales, because Austria could cause Wales problems.
Yeah, and that the Wales-Austria game will be in Cardiff. But you've got to say again, in the semi-final, we've managed to avoid the Czech Republic, who did us in the summer and are a good side.
Yep,
And
Poland.
we've managed to avoid Poland with Robert Lewandowski, who's probably going to win the Ballon d'Or next week. So, in terms of the draw, so far so good, I would say, for Scotland. We are waiting to find out if that final, crucially, will be at home or will be down in Cardiff, the Welsh capital city. Please send us all of your comments. So many. Gordon Christie saying, we want Austria in the final at Hampden. Gordon, that could be the case. We'll just have to wait and see. Plenty of comments. Scotland will qualify. Ukraine, we can beat them. Not much quality in the Ukraine side from John Rangers.
Oh no!
We're
getting ahead of ourselves here. Oh no!
I know, but in terms of Ukraine, you've got players such as Zinchenko, Manchester City, Yarmolenko at
His
at
goal
West Ham
scoring
as well.
record's incredible for Ukraine, Yarmolenko.
And the boy who played in the middle of the park was excellent. Plays for Atlanta. Was it Atlanta? Who was it? Atlanta last year.
Malinowski. Yeah.
He's a very good
He's
player.
got a rocket from the edge
Yep,
of the box
they've,
as well.
they've got some
Stop,
good players.
that's enough.
I know,
These
you
are
get
enough.
scared
We don't
already.
want any more. We don't want any more.
We're down here on the march, Charlie Darby. He remembers when we get too ahead of ourselves, don't you, Ruffy?
Yes, uh-huh.
We're going to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
What went wrong in '78?
Off the field.
On the day.
On the day?
Just never happened on the day.
God.
Never turned up well, did
No.
Oh, God.
Preparation.
Well, Peru got to the quarter-finals, so they must have been all right.
Yeah? Who's their best player?
Cabillas.
Tobias.
He's got his strip in his.
Nobby Solano.
He was probably still playing back then. Okay, so we have the full draw at the moment. So Scotland will play Ukraine. That's the first semi-final. The winner of that will play the winner of Wales against Austria. In semi-final 3, you have Russia against Poland. Big derby in Eastern Europe, that. Then you have Sweden against the Czech Republic. 2 teams that got to the knockout stages of the European Championships in the summer. The winners will play each other. Italy, the current European champions, didn't make it to Russia 2018. Haven't made it automatically to Qatar 2022. They're up against North Macedonia, the lowest ranked team left in qualifying, which means Portugal are against Turkey, and it's looking like it could be an Italy against Portugal final. Now we wait as Lothar Matthäus mixes the balls. We wait to see who will be at home, but we want to hear from you. Are you happy with Ukraine? Many of you in the chat right now are. Austria or Wales? Who would you rather play? Are you confident that you would definitely rather play Austria than Wales?
In the final?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%?
Yeah.
Austria were all right at the Euros. They caused Italy problems.
But we produced 2 good results against them. You know,
Okay.
When was the last time we beat Wales?
If we go into the game with Wales and it is Wales, irrelevant of where it is, who do you think goes in as favourites?
I think the Welsh.
Irrelevant. I think the home.
Do you think
I
whoever's
think it's
at
a big toss. This. I think if we're at home, we're slight favourites. I think if we're away from home, I think Wales would be slight favourites. Home advantage
You know
huge.
what happened? They'll get turned into a Battle of Britain game.
Yeah.
You know, with the 2 home nations, and that will overtake possibly the football side. You don't want that. You want them to go in as 2 good footballing sides and not any aggro hanging about the game. But you know, they've got. We keep saying they've got a match winner in Bale that we don't have. You know, and we've seen what Ronaldo does in these big games. These guys tend to turn up with something special, and we just have to hope if it is them that he doesn't do it.
But we are
against
going
us.
in good form, which is good.
Yeah. 6 wins in a row.
We are playing well. There's a buzz about the country, and it's nice to actually be talking about we're in the draw. You know, normally we'd be not even interested in what's going on. At least we're there and we're looking forward to it. And this group of players keep performing again. You know, they go away to Serbia, get results. Go away to Austria, get results. Tough places. So you can listen. Whoever you get is always going to be a difficult game, but you know, we're delighted to be here, and hopefully we can.
Listen, we've just battered a top team in Denmark at home. I know Denmark are already qualified, but if you can put in the same level of performance,
Wales or Austria are at home against Scotland.
Wales or Austria at home. Scotland away for the final.
I thought it was a toss of the coin.
It's just been tossed.
Have they just tossed the coin there?
Well, he pulled it out of a basket, yeah. Christian Carambeau telling us, right, so Wales or Austria will host the final. Scotland will have to go away. Tam will be telling us right now that makes Wales slight favourites if it is Wales against Scotland in the final.
yeah, I think so. But I still take it. I think there'll be a massive Scottish support down there. As I said, there'll be 10,000 in there. So it's a 50-50 tie. I think the home advantage maybe just tips at 60-40 in their favour, as it would have if we were at Hampden. But you know, it might not be them. We're still got to get by Ukraine first. I'm getting ahead of myself.
We need to get Peter. We need to get Peter onto it. We need to get down there.
Yes.
We need to.
We'll be there.
We'll keep saying we're going there at the Euros. We've never done anything. We need to be there.
Yep.
Supporting the lads, having a good weekend.
Yes, and me.
Yes.
If you're watching in the gantry, Peter.
He is. He's there. Do you want me?
Yeah, that's
He's listening. He says he'll be there. He says he'll be there. Don't worry. He's sorting it now. Getting the bank card out. But the games will be played Thursday, the 26th, and I think it's Tuesday. The final is on a Tuesday, the 31st of March. So a big weekend. The first game, the semi-final, is on the Thursday. Then you've got 4 days to prepare for the final. Oh, can you imagine how tense that's going to be for the players? It's almost, when the games are so big like that, it's almost like you're at a Euros, a World Cup. You know, the magnitude of the game is so big.
See the bookings, are they carrying over? Are they trying to get an amnesty about that?
They're trying to get amnesty. That's not been confirmed yet. FIFA have said they will approve amnesty if all the countries can agree it. Scotland currently don't have anyone missing for the semi. But
Let it go.
We have players that, if they get booked in the semi, would miss the final.
Right, okay, right.
Which is ridiculous because
That's shocking.
you have a person...
It should be wiped, you
For
know?
example, Stephen O'Donnell got booked against Austria in the first game in March. 1 booking. 11 games later, he could get booked in the semi-final for a second booking in 11 games and miss the Austria or Wales final, which is just...
Just don't tackle. He won't be playing anyway. So.
Right, final word in it. How do you stop a person like Gareth Bale? You said you failed to do it back in 2013.
Smash him.
It's going to be difficult because you concentrate on Bale. They've got Ramsey, they've got Allen, they've got Dan James, who's terrific player. Kiefer Moore up front causes you problems with his height. So no, I just don't think we can concentrate on Gareth Bale. Listen, Steve will know all about him. We all know about him, what quality he's got. But they've got 2 or 3 players that can hurt you, and it's going to be a tough game. But Wales will be worried about Scotland. With the form they're in, the players that they've got at the moment. I think it's going to be a great game to, proper, like I say, Battle of Britain game, and both teams will go hammer and tongs at it, and there'll be no love lost.
Yeah, certainly won't be. Ruffy, just finally, have Scotland got to play their own game? Got to get boys like Billy Gilmore, John McGinn, Callum McGregor on the ball. Is that what they have to do in both the Ukraine and hopefully finally against Wales or Austria?
Yeah, the home game should take care of itself, as what we're talking about, the confidence of taking on teams at home. I have a big worry about us away from home. Yeah, we beat Austria, but the only other teams we beat away from home is the Faroes and Moldova. I know the Austria game is a big one, but I don't know. I just think Wales is a really difficult one away from home. But as we've all been there before, on any particular night, any particular guy can steal the show, and games that you don't think you're going to win, you win. And that could be the case.
Listen, we went to Wembley against England, and we deserved the draw at least. We played really well that day, and England got to the final. So I think if we could take confidence from that, there's no travel, it's not a long travel, it's only down the road. Scotland, I fancies.
Yeah, and don't forget, if it's a draw, it will go to penalties, which Scotland are guaranteed to win because they've scored every penalty they've ever taken in a shootout. So no problem for us. 0-0, just like in Serbia.
Angus Lochran.
Every single penalty, right. That's all Scotland chat at the moment. We've got plenty still to go through. Keep your comments coming. Want to hear what you have to say about that trip to Vienna or Cardiff. But we're going back to Celtic now. As we said, beaten in the Europa League last night. 3-2, they drop into the Conference League, and Ange Postecoglou thinks that's probably the level they're at right now.
Yeah, ultimately we just, we couldn't hang on in the end, and they obviously, got the 2 late goals, which, disappointing, definitely. Disappointing for the players, but at the same time, it's a great, again, learning tool for us and development. We know we're not at this level yet, but we came here tonight and we're determined to take it to a good opponent. I thought we did that.
They certainly did take it to a good opponent, scoring 2 goals. We've praised them going forwards, but defensively, Celtic have conceded the most in the entire tournament. Despite playing well in all of their games, they've got 13 goals, and it's just not good enough defensively, is it?
No, for what you want to try and achieve. If you want to win titles and you want to win leagues, leagues and cups, you have to try and build yourself on a good foundation of not conceding goals. And Celtic have conceded a lot of goals in this Europa League, and it is difficult to come back from that. But no, I think they'll be happy in the performances, in general, really, and what they've done. But to go to the conference one will be another bit of blow to them as well. They would have expected to try and finish second. They haven't, and they'll look forward to trying to rack a few wins up now in the league and before the cup final.
Celtic confirmed in the Europa Conference League. That's because they're third in the group. We can see the group table as it stands now. Bayer Leverkusen, they've been brilliant in most of their games as well. 13 points, only a draw with Real Betis in second place. They have 10. Celtic, 6 points, both of them coming in victories over the Hungarian side Ferencváros, which means they will drop into the Conference League. Now, Ruffy, again, a little bit confused by this earlier, so I'll explain it for you now. Celtic will drop in to the Conference League, and they'll do essentially what the Champions League teams are doing to Rangers. So they drop in and they play the second-ranked team in all of the Conference League groups. So they will avoid the best teams in the Conference League, and they'll play the second-ranked team in the last 32. Currently, that could be Maccabi Tel Aviv, Partizan, Roma, Randers, not Rangers, Randers, Slavia Prague, who we all know too well about, Slovan Bratislava, Tottenham Hotspur, and Karabag.
It's still tough.
You just feel like
there's not much
room for for disappointment.
Knocked out and you get Spurs, Antonio Conte.
Bratislava will come back to them and haunt them. Tottenham's a difficult game. Roma, Karabag have been in the Champions League. So there's a lot of teams with European experience, but Celtic at home, I said about Rangers last night, they fancy themselves against anybody at home. And listen, you've got to, whatever you're dealt with, you'll deal with it. And It wouldn't surprise the Celtic get through and whoever they play.
Celtic do get through, get to the last 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals. How much credence, how much weight does this competition carry? It's the inaugural time. Will Celtic fans want to win this tournament?
Yeah, listen, I think the Europa League's better quality. Some of the teams in there, but there's still some tasty teams in there. Roma, Tottenham, teams in there. So listen, Celtic will try and get as far as they can. They want to avoid, the 3 or 4 bigger clubs in there. But there's certainly teams in there that Celtic are capable of beating over 2 legs. They've shown in bits and pieces against top teams that they're getting better, they're improving. The Celtic fans will be happy. They're still in Europe, so they'll be looking forward to the draw and see who they get. But Celtic could be looking to go as far as possible. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to stick with Celtic now, but moving on to the weekend's fixtures. We'll start with Celtic against Aberdeen, but we can have a look at all 6 games in the top flight this weekend. Dundee against Motherwell. We'll hear from the captain, Charlie Adams, sitting right next to me in a minute. Hearts against St Mirren. Ross County versus Dundee United. St Johnstone against Tam McManus. Hibernian, 5 losses in a row, Tam? Livingston against Rangers on Sunday, and then Celtic against Aberdeen. That's where we'll start in Glasgow. For Celtic against the Dons. They've won 5 and drawn 1 of their last 6, Celtic. Rafi, what do you think about their domestic form? Can they use this experience in Europe to carry them on? They're coming a bit back down to earth. They won't have as much pressure on their backline going forwards.
Yeah, but he seems to be getting into a settled 11 here at home. That Tam's already touched on. Maybe the reason for that is the people are sitting on the bench aren't good enough. So if he sticks to his 11, in our competition, they've been good, particularly middle to front. But Charlie keeps telling us you get a chance against them. And they have to try and shut up shop, but I think they're getting Aberdeen at the right time. Nothing's happening for them just now. You think they're on a, turning it round and then something happens. So going to Parkhead will be a big day for them.
Yeah, the Dons really struggling at the moment under Stephen Glass. The club have said they're bitterly disappointed that Funsu Ojo's red card cannot be overturned because of the stipulations with a booking, and it's not a case of mistaken identity. So he will be suspended for this game after his red card against Dundee United at the weekend. Tam, that's just, you'd think that common sense would prevail there.
Yeah, you would think that, but it doesn't happen in this country, doesn't it? It doesn't happen in this country. Everybody, it doesn't matter who you support. We've seen that incident, would have said, come on, that's never a red card. That boy should be rescinded. It hasn't happened, so unfortunately he's going to miss the game, but I think Celtic will be too strong. You're right about Aberdeen. I thought they were turning a corner, then they've lost the last 2 without scoring the goal, Motherwell and Dundee United. So yeah, they're not going to Celtic in good form. I think Celtic will just edge it. I think they've got a couple of goals in them, so I'll go for 2-1 to Celtic.
2-1 Celtic. What have you gone for?
I'm going to go 2-0.
I've gone 2-0 as well, yeah, quite interesting. It was the game that I was up at Pataudry, the reverse fixture, that Celtic won late on. You remember Jota scored, and that was almost Celtic's turning point, because that was their first away victory in a very, very long time, I think since Valentine's Day. They're 4 points behind league leaders Rangers, and they can't really afford to drop any more points at home, can they, Charlie?
No, they can't. Obviously, Livingston took points there last not so long ago as well, and Scott Brown going back. He'll be looking to try and, win that as well. So it's going to be an interesting game, and for Aberdeen, it's just one of them. Can we go there and try and be competitive, and look to try and, let's say, you'll get chances against Celtic. You just have the right players, the right place. They can cause them the problems to score the goals as well.
Yeah, Aberdeen haven't won at Celtic Park since 2017-2018 season, the final day of the campaign. Andy Constantine with the goal back then. But you're talking about Scott Brown returning to Parkhead. Well, manager Stephen Glass said his players and Scott Brown will take part in the tribute to Bertie Auld, of course, which will happen at Parkhead on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubt in that. When I knew that I was able to bring him in, and I think that's one of the big reasons for bringing someone like Scott to the club. It'll be another big occasion. It was a big occasion when Celtic came here for him. It's the first time that happened. This is not going to be the first time he's played against Celtic, which will probably be important. There is going to be a tribute for Bertie Auld that Scott and the Celtic captain will be a part of, and we will as a club as well before the game.
There we are. Bertie Auld's funeral, of course, today as well. Ruffy, you were there, weren't you? How was it?
Yeah, it was very good service. A lot of big names there. Brendan Rodgers was there. Obviously some past players. Roy Aitken was there. Davy Hay was there. The Lisbon Lions were obviously there. And it was, that a lot of supporters obviously turning up, as they always do. And it was a big occasion for everybody associated with the club.
Thousands of people there, Tam. He was a legend of the game, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. It's no surprise. There was a lot of supporters there. You know, I watched a little bit on YouTube today. You know, great turnout for him. Listen, he was Mr. Celtic. The supporters loved him. He was down to earth, one of the Lisbon Lions. And I'm no surprised some of the big names that Ruffy mentioned did come up to pay their respects because, listen, he was a top human being.
Yeah, as we see some images there from Celtic Park a little bit earlier on. Charlie, for me, he was one of my first interviews. I remember when I started about 4 years ago, and he was just so easy to get on with. You know, see a little boy like me not wearing any socks, and he thought, I could hammer him. But he was so nice, so easy to interview. And he told me a story of the first paycheck he got when he was just a schoolboy. He got £10, and he gave it to his mum. He said she wrapped it in his knuckles, and he never saw it again. But he was just a great guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, listen, never met him, but just seeing the videos of, obviously, when he passes, you see these videos of when there, it was just Celtic through and through, wasn't he? Singing the songs, and always seemed to be good to be around, you know, and you know, you get these people at the football club, and it's important that, you know, these people are never forgotten, and you know, Celtic will always remember Bertie Auld. He was part of that successful Lisbon Lions team, and you know, when you have a group of players, you know, it's important that the football club look after them because, you know, they're part, and that's what the history of that, what Celtic's all about, is people like that. And he looked like he got, you know, a perfect send off today.
Yeah, he certainly looked after the people at Celtic as well. Will always be remembered around Celtic, around Scottish football. Bertie Auld, that is. Livingston against Rangers, the other game on Sunday. Livy drawn their last three. It's such a tough place to go. Last season, Rangers didn't lose there, but they drew 0-0 and then 1-0 Morelos with that late goal. You remember singing Sweet Caroline, you said in the changing room after, but they take that again, wouldn't they? A 1-0 win.
Yeah, they would. It's just a horrible place to go, you know. And as I said, the weather forecast this weekend's terrible. You know, it's going to be gale force winds, you know, rain. It's just all about attitude. You know, the Rangers boys, you know, it's all about attitude. You know, going there, listen, rolling the sleeves up, being physical. It's not going to be a pretty game. You're not going to be able to play, you know, nice passes and all that. So, just got to go there and win the game. Livingston, I feel are doing pretty well at the minute. They're picking up points, and they're starting to just get into the pack in the middle of the table. So. Tough game for Rangers. I think they'll win it, but I just think with Van Bronckhorst coming in, the competition for places, the new manager bounce, they got that last night. I think they'll go there and they'll win that game 3-1.
What do you expect from Rangers, Charlie? Do you expect them to change much? You know, he made a few last night. We saw a bit of Patterson. Could we see him again?
Yeah, he put him on the right hand side. I think for Patterson, it's a learning curve from that position. You know, at times his body position was not right, and you know, trying to receive him on the outside his foot. The picture's totally different playing in that wide area than it is, you know, coming from behind. You know, amount of goals and assists he's had for Scotland, coming from behind, he played well there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he made a couple of changes because of the AstroTurf. A lot of games coming up. Maybe the older ones might get rest, but it's important that they go and get the job done, and you can maybe take them off, you know, or if he wants to go and play them and take them off with maybe 20 minutes to go if they're up enough goals. But I just think it's a mentality thing tomorrow on Sunday for Rangers. Yeah. Go and doing it. There's no excuses. The pitch is flat, you know. There might be a bit of wind and things like that, but the surface will be flat, you know, and it'll be wet, so you can actually pass it. It's not like it's a hot day, but it's going to be dry and it's going to be slow. So if Rangers can move it quick enough, which last night I felt they moved it a lot quicker than they have been in recent weeks, and they should cause Livingston problems, and you'd expect Rangers to win, but you know, it's Livingston will make it difficult for them.
Yeah, they certainly will. The champions will be hoping for some muscle memory, and they are 4 points clear at the top of the league, hoping to extend that this weekend. Ruffy, quick prediction. I've gone 1-0, you 3-1?
3-1.
3-1, Ruffy?
2-0 Rangers. 2-0
Rangers as well. Hugh McDonald backing against Rangers again. 1-1. That's how we can catch up on it. You know? We can catch up on it. That's
he
how
never tips Rangers, so
slowly chip
Rangers
away
keep winning, he'll just keep coming back in the pack.
I know. Right, Hearts St Mirren. A game on Saturday. I spoke to Robbie Nielsen on Thursday. Yesterday, that was the Hearts manager. Now, Hearts only won one of their last 6 games in the league, but they still sit third. He said that just shows the strength of the competition in the division this campaign.
Everyone can beat everyone within it. You know, you see last night's results with Ross County and Hibs. You know, having Hibs just come off the back of winning a semi-final to then go there and get beat. So it's, you know, even looking at the start of the season, you would probably say it's the strongest the league's been in 10, 15 years at least. So we know that, yes, we'll win games, but there's going to be games that we're going to find very difficult. For us, it's about, firstly, how we react to that game to try and win it. If we don't, how we react to the next game.
Dan, they've slowed down a bit, haven't they, Hearts, recently?
Yeah, they have. I think, you know, they started the season on fire, you know, unbeaten. And, you know, went to Rangers and got a good result. So I just think that, listen, it's going to be tough for them to keep that consistent level up this season. You know, in third place.
Do you think 10 million will still be able to get them close to Rangers and Celtic?
I think so, yes. I think 10 million will win it.
I read this comment.
10 million will be 10 million will be top of the league. You know?
Bullshits.
No, who would they buy with 10 million? You're at it. You went early with that
Buy
one.
Charlie for $1 million. Right. No, listen. I think that. Listen, it'll be difficult to keep that consistent level up. You know, and they're getting a few injuries and a few knocks here and there, but you know, they're still third place. I think third place is wide open this season. You know, I wouldn't discount Dundee United either. You know, they're sitting in joint third, I think, now. So they're up there. Motherwell, if they can go and turn Charlie's Dundee over tomorrow, they'll be up the table as well. So, and I wouldn't write off Hibs just yet. You know, they're not going through a poor run, but I think third place is wide open. And if Hearts can win their home games, they're strong at home, Tynecastle, then they can finish third. But that'll be a tough game against them.
What are you going for?
I think I went for Hearts just to edge it 2-1.
2-1, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think Hearts will win that as well. I think possibly we'll go 2-0.
2-0, that's also, I think you're just copying my scores. That's what I've gone for as well. St Mirren, no Conor McCarthy, the centre-half is injured for 2 months. They're still in 6th place. They're also suffering a winless run. They've not won in 5 league games. We've got to move on. Push for time. Dundee against Motherwell. Charlie, tell us all about it. Come on.
Well, at the moment, the forecast's not meant to be good. It's snowing as just as I was leaving training today. High winds.
Are you expecting the game still to be
So it's probably not going to be a classic.
they're not usually up against Park, are
Well, you've not been up, that's the problem. Can't you keep watching highlights on BBC and that and then putting players in because they're good guys?
Okay, well, what were your last 2 home scores?
We got beat.
Yeah.
4-2 and 5-0.
Yeah, okay.
So we're not going great.
Plenty of goals anyway.
Aye, plenty of goals, but not for us. No, I think if you look for us, you know, we've done okay. Last couple of games have been poor at home. Got a good away win at St Mirren. But the 2 games we played against Motherwell, we've probably been the best team for the majority of both games. But Motherwell have done well. You know, they've gone from thinking about wanting to play at the back early in the season, had a couple of beatings, and then all of a sudden they want to go back to front and cause team problems, which they have, and they've got results, and they've been you know, good at that. So we don't expect anything less with that tomorrow. They'll come and they'll go a little bit longer, and you know, it'll be tin hats on, I think, tomorrow for a lot of the game. But we've got enough quality that can win the game, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we certainly will. You'll be wanting to win as well, because Ross County are now hot on your heels after their victory. Huge win against Hibs.
Massive win. Massive. I don't want to talk about Hibs yet. They're last, and deservedly so. But Ross County starting to turn the screw, eh? Winning against Hibs. They had that game against Shield. They're only
but the thing is,
1 point behind.
They're not as bad as everybody was making it. They were maybe 4 or 5 adrift, but they weren't as bad as that. The games that I'd seen, and even early in the season, they were scoring a lot of goals, but they were giving away silly goals during the season. But they seem to have clamped in on that a little bit, and they're starting to get good results. And beating us 5-0, and then obviously beating Hibs 1-0 at home. It's important that you can win your own games. Yeah, they scored a couple against Rangers at Ibrox as well in between, but they played Dundee United roughly. Dundee United, who are joint with Hearts in 3rd place, 4th on goal difference.
Where is that game?
It's in Dingwall. Nice to see you've done your research.
No, I was just the way you put Dundee United first there. I didn't want to dive into a trap. It's up there. The win's got to give them a lot of confidence, and I think they'll take something out of the game. I don't think they'll win it. So I'll probably push me. I'm going to go for a 1-each draw. That's what
are you reading my scores? He's reading my scores.
Are you above him at the minute? So you're just going to copy his scores the full season? That's what I was thinking. He's going to copy your scores, and he can't finish. It's not possible to finish above him.
That's what he always sends his scores in last. Scores in last every time. Oh,
I had an excuse today. I was obviously at the funeral.
Right. Okay. This is the last week you're getting off with it. Right. Last but not least, deservedly last, Tam McManus's Hibernian. What happened midweek? You've not been in since. 1-0 loss to Ross County after pumping Rangers in that first half in the semi-final. What's gone on? 5 losses in a row.
Yeah, not good enough. I think that Hibs, the first half, are the better side. Created 2 or 3 good chances. Kevin Nisbet looks as if his confidence is his bootlaces. He's no confidence whatsoever. He missed a couple of chances. Hamlin hit the post, but it was always a tight game. Ross County were always in it.
But what does Jack do with him? Does he keep playing him through this barren spell, or does he? Does he allow, or does he have to leave him out? I think that because he's your main man. He's your main number 9.
I think he's hands forced this weekend because Boyle suspended and Doidge suspended, so there's nobody else. He's got to play. But he wasn't too happy when he got brought off. He had a wee go at Jack Ross when he came off, but he did. He wasn't happy. So, but I don't think he had any cause for complaint. I didn't think he had a great game, you know. But it was 0-0, and as a striker, you want to stay on because you think I can get a goal here. But he had 3 or 4 attempts at goal. Ross County scored the goal, and then Doyle gets sent off. I thought it was a red card. Initially, I thought it wasn't, but his wee kick out, and then Boyle's stupid at the end. So, go to McDermott Park, tough place to go. Missing 2 of your best players. I think that game is going to be horrendous on Saturday tomorrow. I was contemplating 0-0. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it, but I've went for 1 each because I just think he's a couple of goals. But I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in that game.
St Johnstone a bit of a bogey team.
They're the lowest scorers in the league, I think, St Johnstone as well.
Yeah.
So
They've not really done well against St Johnstone at McDermott, have they?
no.
I think Hibs won the last meeting between the two, but before that, they had a really, really poor record, especially Scottish League Cup and the Cup last season. St Johnstone just seem to be Hibs' bogey team at the moment. Ruffy, without looking at my screen, what have you gone for?
What have you went for?
Go on.
I'm going to go. I'm stick out here, and I'm taking a gamble. I'm going to go Hibs to bounce back, and I'm going to go Hibs to win 2-1.
That's quite big. I've got 0-0 because I also think it's going to be a brutal game. And Chris Kane is banned for St Johnstone, but I mean maybe that means they'll try and score
A
a bit.
horrific game. I'm going for 1 each.
This could be a game of 18-18. Big chances in the final.
Hibs have this other striker suspended, and Johnson can't score a goal.
No.
So it's got to be 3 each.
Great advertisement for the Scottish game. That is it in terms of previewing the weekend's fixtures.
Don't go yet.
No. Make sure you stay safe this weekend. We are expecting gale force winds and rain, especially on the east coast of the country. Good luck to everyone playing in the Scottish Junior Cup as well, the last 16 with the quarter-final ties that we previewed a little bit earlier. And of course, good luck to Scotland. It's not until March, but they will be playing Ukraine at home in the World Cup playoff semi-final, followed by a trip to either Wales or Austria 4 days later. Whoever wins in that game, Scotland and the Tartan Army will be marching either to Cardiff or somehow they'll be marching to Vienna, hoping to repeat the result of a few months back. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Ruffy, to Charlie, to Tam. And once again, make sure you join us. We've got Steve Clark, the Scotland manager, is coming on in about 15 minutes. Stay tuned to PLZ Soccer's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Twitter for all the latest from that. We'll be back again at the same time on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, and once again, thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.